Hey, we're gonna start with these flashcards. What's the first thing that you think of when you see this word? Self-improvement. This is what you might see. Like and subscribe. If y'all haven't done that, if y'all haven't liked and subscribed, do that just to support. But on the serious note, self-improvement. What's the first thing you think about? Pause the video and think about it. So there's the self-improvement. You might think of money, right? A lot of y'all think about money. However, is that really self-improvement? Let's see. The next thing y'all might think about is relationships. Relationships. When you think about relationships, you think about, wow, this relationship, whether it's with this girl, whether it's with your parents, kids, spouse, with God, with whatever, you have this relationship. And do you love relationships? Do you think self-improvement is relationships? And the hardest thing is life. Self-improvement is all of these three. It's basically, you can basically technically say that life includes money and relationships, but this is basically self-improvement. And if you want to improve, it's very easy. We're gonna go through these topics. We're gonna make it as easy as possible so you all can understand and how I had a downfall because I didn't want to do self-improvement. I just wanted to do things that pleased me. And the things that pleased me didn't help. And let's talk about mental health. Your mental health is very important. If you don't improve your mental health, what's gonna happen? You're gonna start doing dumb stuff. You're gonna start doing stupid stuff. And that's horrible. So mental health is very important. If you have poor mental health, do you think you're gonna go to the gym? No, you're not going to the gym if your mental health is not where it's supposed to be. So make sure you improve your mental health, because when you have a good mental health, what's gonna happen is you're gonna do more positive things. You're gonna do things out of the kindness of your heart. And then this is what bad mental health will lead to. It's called hate versus love. Hate versus love, y'all. That's a hard topic, complex topic. Because when you have a lot of hate in your heart, you'll be like, oh, I don't have hate. But when you have a lot of hate in your heart, what's gonna happen is when you wanna do something, when you wanna grow big in your career and you see someone higher than you, you're gonna start hating, oh, this person lucky, this person, this parents, this whatever. And then you see all the hatred of you hating people, comparing yourself just because that person is higher than you. And you're gonna be like, oh no, I don't really hate people. So you're like, oh, I don't hate, but you do hate. You only hate people who are higher than you. When people are lower, you're gonna be like, oh no, I'm happy for you. But the moment someone is higher than you, you're gonna start hating. So get that out of your heart. And we're not done, y'all. We're talking about love. If you have love, if you have positive love, people can feel that. I can feel that from a mile away. If you love someone, you would want the best. The opposite of the hate, what I just said from hate, is basically the opposite. When someone is higher than you in a very great career, you're gonna be like, I love that. I'm genuinely, not fake love. We're gonna talk about fake love. Please do not fake love. Please do not be that person that's fake love. I do not want to hear that. That's horrible mindset, y'all. So basically have love. Make sure you're happy people are doing good. Make sure you're happy who are higher than you, and help the people who are lower positioned than you. Help them go higher than you. Whether they do better than you, that's okay. Just do it out of love. And then y'all, smart versus dumb. We all went through this. Smart versus dumb. There's no way. You all did smart things. You all did dumb things. Whether it was dumb, you partied and I don't know, you locked yourself out of the house, or you couldn't go in the house, or you did something very dumb. We all been through that, and that's where self-improvement comes in, because you have to avoid doing as much dumb stuff. Avoid dumb. Go to smart. Yes, we're gonna have dumb stuff, but you can avoid and you can limit how much dumb stuff you do if you follow this thing, smart versus dumb. You write something there, you be like, smart versus dumb. Is it smart for me to go out at nighttime when I have work at 8 a.m., come home at 4 a.m., have work at 8 a.m.? Because what's going to happen? It's going to negatively impact my performance. And what this is going to lead to is you basically neglecting or not doing as good in your job, and then that will affect your performance, and then the manager gonna be like, what happened? Not only that, if you don't even think of that, you can think about what's gonna happen to the customers. You're not gonna be as sharp, and then the customers are gonna have a horrible experience. And that's where mental health And that's where hate versus love comes in, right? Hate versus love. Because you have to love yourself and love the people around you. If you love them all, you would think of how your selfish decisions will affect everybody else. So then, like I said, that's where the smart versus dumb, because if you think about that, if you did what I told you, if you write down everything, you're gonna be like, okay, the smart thing to do is not to go out, tell my friends, tell everybody I am not going out, right? Because I have work, and work is way more important, because what's giving you money? Party late or work. Party late is taking your money. Working is giving you money. Not actually giving you, earning money. However, it just sounds beautiful to say taking, give. But let's use the proper terms. You're earning money, because they're not giving you money just for looking good. They're not giving you money because you look good, you're dressed well. No, they're giving you money based on the value that you give them. And with the self-improvement, it's basically you versus you, not you versus Steve, you versus Eddie, you versus you. You versus you is very important, y'all, because at the end of the day, you wake up and the person you see the most is yourself. I hope it's yourself, because you look at your mirror every day, hopefully you do. Is you versus you. So basically, if you look from last year, how did you improve? You're gonna be way better. Wow, I went to the gym, I was 180, now I'm 170 the next year. But if you do you versus Eddie, you versus Steve, what's gonna happen is like, wow, look at Steve. Steve has 6-pack, very strong muscles, and I'm so skinny, or I'm out of shape. And then you're gonna be horrible. And then you're gonna have a horrible mental health. Yes, y'all, horrible mental health. All of these flashcards connect to each other. You have horrible mental health, and it'll affect everything, because technically, to be honest with you all, if you have a horrible mental health, everything is affected. Like all of this video is not even gonna really register with you if you have a horrible mindset, because that's true. That's why people don't want to go to the gym. That's why people don't want to go to work, because everything starts here. Everything starts mentally. If you're mentally good, you're gonna do everything you're supposed to do. You're gonna go to the gym. You're gonna go to work 5 days a week. You're gonna find ways to make money. You're going to do things that will help you. But that's why people who are horrible mindset, mental health, they do horrible things, because not because they don't know what's wrong from right, especially if they're an adult, is because they use these things to cope for whatever they're feeling, because it makes them feel better, but they never sat down and really understood why am I doing this? Am I doing this because it's actually fun? Am I doing this just because my friends, but with my friends I don't like? Because you see those people that they don't go out, but the moment their friends come, that's when they go out. They don't drink. The moment they do it is when their kids are there. They don't drink, they don't do nothing. Only when certain people are around, which is a horrible thing to do. And I said horrible 10 times, but let me tell you about my downfall. Y'all, I didn't want to. Hopefully this video doesn't really get any views, because whatever, let's go. So attractive. So my downfall, and a lot of you are men, hopefully I'm not the only one, has been affected by this. So what happened to me is I found someone attractive. She was attractive. So what I did, she wasn't interested, and I was broke, and I, used money as a way to get her attention. And yes, that worked. But what did it tell you? What term did I tell you all in the beginning of the video? I would tell you about fake love. They show fake love to you. As y'all know, fake love, there's a difference between real love and fake love. So basically, she pretended that she was interested in me because I was giving her what she needed. And then eventually, I knew what I was doing. I knew that she was using me. Obviously, she saw if she gave me attention, she would get what she wanted. If she didn't, then she wouldn't. And then eventually, I'm like, what would happen if I don't have money? Well, oh yeah, I love you for who you are. But the moment I stopped giving money, she stopped really talking to me. She didn't want to go on the phone with me, whatever. So that goes to smart versus dumb. That really starts from mental health, because people who are in the right mindset would never lead with money at the end of the day. And it was the most horrible mindset, because it really, this video is about self-improvement, as you all know, self-improvement. But I wasn't self-improvement. I was just giving my worked hard, my earned money for someone who didn't deserve it, because we didn't really connect, we weren't together, we weren't really, there was no love. So fake love and attractive. They're attractive. I fell in the trap. I got used. Fake love. All of these, y'all. Don't never leave with money. If you leave with money, you'll be sad. You'll never feel good. And, so what has happened to me? I became delusional. Oh, I don't look good. I'm not attractive. I'm ugly. I'm this. So what did that cause me to do? I felt horrible. I didn't feel good about myself. I would think every time I want to talk to like a woman, I would need money. I would have to give money. I'll have to do something. Money. And at the end of the day, money is not everything. Yes, you need money, but money is not everything. However, being delusional is actually great. The delusional I was doing, the delulu that I was being was horrible, because I was doing that in the wrong way. But if you're delusional when it comes to your career, this is very important in regards to self-improvement. Y'all, being delusional is actually good. Being delusional is amazing, because how do you differentiate the people that don't really make money versus the people that make money? And I was talking about smart versus dumb, whatever, but this is where things get tricky. It's not as straightforward as people make it. It's not as black and white as people make it seem, because technically, logically, it may not seem correct or smart to maybe invest in that certain coin, that meme coin that has no future, or it's not very smart to make a certain step. But do you think the rich people, they were completely logical? And that's completely false. No, they were never fully logical. At times, they had to be delusional. They had to make decisions that made no sense, but it still worked. Because logically, some people think, and logically is not really correct, but people think, oh, if I work hard, I will get to where I need to be. But actually working smarter is way better than working harder, because there's people that work hard, 2 jobs, working hard, and they can barely pay rent, right? It's not their fault. They're working hard. They're doing what they were taught to. But a lot of people are not taught that you can make really twice the money that people are making if you start becoming delusional. And that comes to working smarter. Working smarter is a skill. And we're not even going to talk about only this skill. We're going to be talking about skills that really make you money, because you need a skill that makes you money. So it's a skill, working smarter. Because people, or you would hear people, if you just work hard, you will get it. If you work hard for that $1 million, you will get it. Yes, if you work hard, but if you just work hard, that's not enough, because you need to work smarter. Because you can be maybe writing this, but then you learn to use AI to help you, right? You make your knowledge, you make your decisions, you're on your own. However, you get a little help, and you find ways to make things faster. Because if you were to write everything from scratch every single time, and there are faster ways, but you never learn because you're so focused on working harder, I'm working so hard, I will make it. No, say I'm working smarter and I'm working harder. How I'm working way more smarter than I'm working harder. Because you still have to work hard. Don't get me wrong, y'all. You have to work hard, but you have to work smarter as well. So now, let's talk about the skills. And skills are not only really the high paying, skills are really like languages. I've learned actually Spanish, Haitian Creole. I'm learning Portuguese. I do want to speak, but not for this video. I will not. However, skills is very important. So for that, it won't really directly help me like land a high paying job, for example. However, what it will do is it would really help me socially, because for me personally, y'all, when I speak to people, I feel horrible when they talk and I don't understand what they're saying. However, if the more languages I learn, I already learned the highest languages that's spoken where I live. And then I will learn the next language. What's the next? So I can speak to as much people as possible. Now let's talk about the money, because this is just for me and this is just for the socially. If you're a social person, you like speaking to people and you're just that person, that's for you. However, if you're really looking for ways to make money, you have to find a good skill, right? There's day trading. It's hit and miss. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to get into that. But day trading, if you're good at it, you may not. It's risk, it's strategy. Or if you're a good salesperson, that's great, because if you make a business, you're going to need some type of sales. I don't care who you are. You're going to have to sell a service. Y'all, you should pick me, because there's hundreds and thousands of people you're competing with in that niche you're doing. Let's say you're doing coaching. You're really just, or fitness coach. Let's go fitness coaching. There's a lot of personal training. There's a lot of influencers online, and people are looking for results. They're not looking if you're really the biggest person, but if you have results and you have testimonials, they'll go for you. So that's a great skill. And if you really improve your sales, you'll be very great, because there's people that could have way better business than you, but if they have horrible sales, people don't know that, but if you have bad sales, you won't get business. I don't care how great you are. I don't care if you have the best services in the world. There's people that have way less services than you, way less like stuff going on in their business. However, their sales are so great. That's why making a channel or making content online is good, because at the end of the day, if you make good content, people are going to start liking watching you, and people are going to be like, wow, and then people are going to listen to you more. And if the advice that you talk about and they apply to their life, that it works, they wouldn't mind spending money on you, because they think you can improve, because they think that if they listen to you, they can make way better money. It's an investment. They're investing in you. They're paying that money because they think they themselves can benefit and make way more money versus if they didn't have you. So that's really the point of skills, y'all. Skills are so amazing, y'all. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the next video.